So before I go into the updates for the Kristen Smart case, I'll just do a quick overview for anyone who may not be aware of the case. So Kristen Smart was a college student in 1996. She was in her first year at college at the Cal Polytech, and it must have been like the end of the year type thing. She had been to a party off campus and was walked back to her dorm room, supposedly, by another student called Paul Flores. Thing is, Paul Flores was the last person to see Kristen Smart alive. And there was a major delay with the Cal Poly police in terms of looking into the case, meaning that there was a lot of lost evidence. And Paul Flores got away with this for something like 26 years. So in 2022, Paul Flores was finally convicted for Kristen Smart's death. And he is now serving 25 years to life for that crime. He will not be given parole because Kristen's body has not been found. So Kristen's family is still hoping to one day find her body. And Paul Flores still maintains that he maintains his innocence, even though if you followed the trial, you'll know there was a lot of really damning evidence. He maintains his innocence and claims that he doesn't know where Kristen's body is. So to this day, we still don't know where Kristen ended up. It appears that she may have been buried under Paul Flores' father's deck for 20-something years, and that they may have moved the remains in recent years as the investigation began to close in on Paul Flores. If you're not familiar with this case and you're interested in really getting into it, there is a podcast called Your Own Backyard, which is a man by the name of Chris Lambert, and he's done some really thorough research into Kristen's case. And anything you want to know about Kristen's case, you can learn from that podcast, and I highly recommend it. But today I'm just going to talk about a few updates relating to Kristen's case. So sadly, no, there is no update saying that her remains have been found. And it's my concern that may never happen. As someone who has followed this case from the very beginning, I pray that one day her remains will be found, and I pray that happens while her parents are still alive. But let's talk about what updates seem to have been missed. I'm not sure if there are creators on YouTube who are covering Kristen Smart at all, but these are things that I missed, so I figured that a few other people may have missed them too. So first of all, we have in April of this year, Flores was stabbed in the rec yard. That is the second time that he's been attacked in that way. He was hospitalised and has been returned back to the prison where he is serving his time. So that's twice now when he has been stabbed by other inmates and ended up being hospitalised. My thoughts are, as much as he is a scumbag, I would prefer not to see anybody do away with him until Kristen's remains have been found. Now, according to his attorney, Harold Messick, the attorney plans on requesting that Flores be moved to another facility where he will be safer. Personally, I don't think he's going to be safe wherever he is at. Now, moving on to Kristen's family, and also still to Paul Flores, I suppose. Now, I'm not sure, and I've been trying to find information to see if the original lawsuit, there was a civil suit which Kristen's family were bringing against Paul's family. And I know that that was put on hold until such time as a trial had been completed. So I don't know if that is going or what the situation is there. I haven't been able to find any information as yet on that. But what I have discovered is that only just recently, on the 18th of June, and this was an order by Judge Jennifer O'Keefe. So she was the same judge who presided over the Paul Flores case, and she has ordered that Paul Flores is to pay $350,000 in restitution to the family of Kristen Smart. Now, Denise Smart has said that obviously she feels this is an insult to Kristen's memory, but at the same time that there is an important reason for them to seek this restitution. It costs them more than that in fees and everything in the past 26 years. But there is also an end goal, and I'll get to that in a moment. So, with this judgment having been passed, now what happens is that 50% of prison wages earned by Flores is paid directly to the Smart family, along with 50% of any money that is deposited into a trust fund for Flores. So, presumably by a trust fund, they mean if his family want to put money in for him to be able to spend while he's in prison, whatever money they put in, 50% of that will go to the Smart family. And I think there is definitely some sweet justice in that, because anyone who's followed Kristen's case will know that it seems pretty certain that both parents of Paul Flores were involved in covering up the crime and in hiding Kristen's remains, and also in moving her remains quite recently. So there is quite a financial burden there for both the family and Paul, by the looks of it. Now, what Denise Smart has said is that the family are willing to forego restitution if Flores tells them the location of her daughter's remains. So, for them, it was never about the money. They have been searching for 20-something years now, 28 years, for Kristen's remains. And that is a family that's never going to stop and never going to stop wishing to be able to bring her home. So this is one avenue. By having this amount of restitution to be paid, Paul Flores can make it all go away if he simply says where her remains are. Of course, according to Flores's lawyer, Messick, he says that Flores doesn't know where Kristen's remains are and is maintaining his innocence. So I'm wondering if perhaps down the track, as time goes on, that there may be a sense of pressure, both from Flores struggling with limited funds while he's in prison, and also from the cost to his family of any money that they put in for him. Essentially, they're going to have to put in double of what he actually needs, because half of anything they got put in is going to go directly to the Smart family. So I think that was a really good legal move by the lawyer of the Smart family, and I hope that it sees an outcome. Hopefully, there will come a point. I don't believe that there are any appeals planned, but hopefully there will come a point when Flores realises that he's not getting out. And maybe he will offer the location of Kristen's remains to ease his own financial difficulties while he is incarcerated. In terms of the third update, I'm going to share an article with you so that I don't miss any of the details. Family of Kristen Smart sues Cal Poly, says university didn't search suspect's room until 16 days after disappearance. Paul Flores was convicted of the 1996 slaying of Smart at California Polytechnic State University in San Luis Obispo. Smart's father, mother, sister and brother are accusing the university of negligence, wrongful death and negligent infliction of emotional distress. So this is from January. The family of Kristen Smart, a college student whose body has never been found, is suing the California University where she was allegedly killed, according to court documents filed Thursday. Paul Flores was convicted in the 1996 slaying of Smart at California Polytechnic State University in San Luis Obispo, where they were both students at the time. Smart's father, mother, sister and brother are accusing the university of negligence, wrongful death and negligent infliction of emotional distress. Cal Poly's breaches of its legal duty include, but are not limited to, the following. It did not pursue a missing person case promptly, did not interview witnesses timely, did not seal the primary suspect's dorm room as a crime scene, allowed the suspect's room to be sanitised and cleaned before it was searched, and did not search the suspect's room until 16 days after Kristen disappeared, the family stated in the lawsuit. The family also alleges that before Smart's murder, other reports had been made about Flores on the basis of his threatening, stalking and harassing behaviour that the university did not thoroughly investigate. If Cal Poly had properly acted on those reports, conducted an investigation and appropriately disciplined the student, he would not have been on campus and therefore would not have been able to murder Kristen, the lawsuit states. Cal Poly San Luis Obispo had no comment, as this is a pending legal matter, a media relations spokesperson told NBC News. The Smart family says it only began to understand the university's failings in May 2023 when Cal Poly's president publicly apologised and stated, "We recognise that things should have been done differently, and I personally wish that they had." Flores, 46, was found guilty of first-degree murder in October 2022 by a jury in Monterey County. He was sentenced to 25 years to life in prison in March of last year. Prosecutors accused Flores of killing Smart during an attempted on May 25, 1996, in his dorm room at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, where they were both students. Prosecutors said Flores was the last person seen with a very intoxicated Smart and walked her home from an off-campus party. Prosecutors alleged that her body may have been buried under a deck behind the home of Flores' father, Ruben Flores in Arroyo Grande. Smart's remains have never been found. She was declared legally dead in 2002. The Smart family has experienced a quarter of a century of anxiety, hopelessness, depression, and even suicidal ideation related to thinking Kristen might come home, knowing that her killer was still free and being unable to find her body, according to the lawsuit. Now the family is asking for trial by jury as well as money damages in an amount deemed proper by the court, including attorney fees. So I applaud the Smart family for taking legal action against the university because, for starters, if you listen to the podcast, you'll see just how badly Cal Poly stuffed up in terms of the investigation and how much of a missed opportunity there was. Even down to when they first interviewed Paul Flores, he seemed so obviously guilty. And he was talking about that he had to go because he had to go and clean up after doing some concreting at his mother's house. And yet there was no investigation about that comment, which sounds so guilty. And there's even the fact that Cal Poly basically said to the Smart family, we'll put up a memorial for your daughter at the university if you sign an agreement saying that you will never take any legal action against us over her death. I mean, that's pretty poor. Anyway, let's hope that someday Kristen is taken home to her family, and I will do my best to keep my eye out for any further updates in Kristen's case to keep you updated. Thanks for listening. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please hit the subscribe button, please hit the like button and leave a comment below.